Hi again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Supply Side Showcase. I'm Rick Kessler from RV Business. With me, Chris Cieto, also from RV Business. And joining the two of us this afternoon, we have John Hawkins. John is the aftermarket sales manager at BAL RV Products, which is a division of Norco Industries. John, hey, good to see you, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It's good to see y'all too. It's amazing how we've just gotten so used to this video conferencing now over the last 5 years. We're all expert. We're all old hats at it now.
It seems that way.
Yeah. It's hard to believe it has been 5 years since we all kind of turned to this. Uh, John, what have been some of the post-COVID boom, some of the things that BAL is implemented to meet customers' needs and even internal needs to help serve the RV industry?
Well, you're right. It's been 5 years since this all started coming next month. I think one of the things that occurred with the COVID was obviously the boom, the component shortage, which we know why it happened. It was really nobody's fault per se, but it was still an embarrassing situation for our industry as a whole and companies such as us. We went through a tough time of not being able to keep up with not only the OEM's orders, but then the end
Hmm.
user, the consumer's replacement parts for their units, whether it be a slide out motor or a replacement jack or, even a little plastic coupler, depending on what it was. So what we've done, post COVID, is try to improve our presence in the market when it comes to repair parts, working with distributors and RV dealers to have the availability of parts and also the knowledge about those parts to be able to fast track that to the dealer or the end user to get that unit back on the road. And in doing that, we've really beefed up our website and our customer and technical service departments. So our library of support material, whether it's videos or downloads or Q&As, whatever it may be, we have really enhanced that on our website. We started it before the COVID, BC, before COVID. And now that we're after it, we've it's you never finish it. It's always a work in progress. It's like as soon as what the beauty of it is back in the day when you printed something, as soon as you printed it, it was out of date potentially.
Mhm.
But at
Yeah.
least now we can, and I received an email from our customer tech service manager just this week, uploaded 4 new videos of how-tos and repair for technicians. So that's what we've tried to do. When you look at our fill rate, when it comes to product, we're even better right now than we were before COVID. We had gotten in a really bad spot in 2021, 2022 starting off, but now we're 98% plus when it comes to fill rate. And what has gone by the wayside was the crutch. No offense to anybody at the dealer service center level or distributor level of, oh, it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks to get it. We had become so accustomed to that it just kind of came out of it. That's not the case anymore. And I don't speak necessarily just for us. I think our industry as a whole stepped back and looked and said, we need to improve this, because we do have a lot more RV owners now, and we need to improve it. And I think we're at a really good spot when it comes to supply right now.
I want to take one step back, and this is my mistake. When I introduced you from BAL RV Products, what I should have done was give a little bit of an overview of what the company is and locations, but more importantly, the products. John, you mentioned Jacks, you mentioned a few other things, but what are some of your products?
So the brand originated in just stabilizing jacks and scissor jacks and moved into stabilizing chocks and tripods and anything to do to improve the ability to uh, uh, enjoy your camping experience. The kind of the boring stuff that goes underneath the trailer that you don't think about, that's just kind of the necessity. But we've always tried to improve the RV lifestyle, quote unquote, when somebody's camping and the enjoyability. That transitioned over the years into getting into the frame business on the OEM side, as well as the slide out, which we've done for, close to 30 years now. The Along with that, we we expanded our jack system to go into automatic leveling for OEMs, so we
Hmm.
install on our frames going to the OEMs. So that's pretty much who we are. Fortunately for us, all of these products go into every RV that's made. So potentially every RV that's built at the OEM side or gets out into the market has a need for all these products. Whereas in some categories, electronics and whatnot, there might be a consumer that has no interest in a Wi-Fi booster, but
Hmm.
hopefully our brand goes on every camper. We know that doesn't happen all the time, but every end user needs our category.
You were mentioning some of the post-COVID changes, especially among consumer spending habits. How about on the dealer side? Have you noticed many changes in that regard as well?
Yeah, I do. I think that, one thing that's happened this last 2 years, I mean, it's not a secret. We've been in the trough, so to speak. It's been an interesting um, period of time coming right after the highest of the highs that we've ever had with the COVID boom.
Sure.
One thing that I've noticed with dealers, and I used to be a dealer back in medieval times, uh, you you know we there was a line of supply, and it came from supplier to distribution to dealer to consumer, and that's still there, and that's still the most valuable, in our opinion, way of getting it. But however, when you're put under the gun during the COVID, you know, people were buying from online. Dealers that would normally have ever, pre-COVID, BC would never have thought about purchasing online at a retail price. And once has that started and that came down and became acceptable, so to speak, a lot of dealers do that. And that's where, tying into what we talked about earlier, we want the dealers to have the best opportunity to get parts, whether it is aftermarket box product that sits on their shelf or it is repair parts. And so we have, again, not to be redundant, we have really focused our efforts on being able to support them to where they can get it quickly without any cost associated with that when it comes to shipping expenses, and at the best price for them, so they can try to make some margin on this, because frankly, we're all here to support a business and support the families for the people that work at our business, and that's what we're trying to do. I'm not criticizing anybody for doing what they have to do to get the units off of through their shop and out, but it has changed. The mentality um, of the dealer has had to change about where do I get the product from as quickly as possible to take care of my consumer.
Very good. Chris?
Yeah, great point. I mean, if you look at it, we had some steady years of growth heading into COVID, coming out of the Great Recession. It was pretty typical. And I don't want to say, and I think you were talking about this, that the industry got lackadaisical in any sense, but you got accustomed to things being the way they were. And if you were before COVID, every business book had to do with disruption, right? It was like who's going to disrupt the taxi industry? It was Uber and Lyft and all those sort of things. And then COVID really became the great disruptor of all industries. Now you can't find a book about disruption because I think people are just looking for something, even keeled and normal. So as we're coming out of that lull, and I think there's some early sentiment in 2025 about optimism, both on the OEM and the aftermarket parts side. What is BAL doing as far as its focus on customers and market share?
Well, one of the things that we've definitely noticed, and whether you can connect it directly to one, two, three things, the aftermarket trade shows that we did pre-Jan 1 versus post-Jan 1. So we had 4 aftermarket trade shows in January. There is a definite difference in the feel in dealer optimism.
Okay.
It
Nice.
feels like that there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm.
So dealers that we've spoken to have, it doesn't necessarily correlate to an immediate change in where our industry's at, an immediate, rebound of business to where we were in 2019. I only gauge things by 2019 right now. I think maybe this year would be the first year that you could probably historically look at 20, after 25 is done and look at 24 and probably get a good feel for trend, as opposed to just overall business. But 2019 is still the benchmark, the 2019 and before. So what we're trying to do is we're just trying to maximize that optimism. We don't anticipate dealers to come in and buy at the same levels that they did in 2019 or in 2021 when they were loading themselves up because they couldn't get it. They were toilet paper hoarding on X jocks and scissor jacks and whatever it may be. We don't see that happening. We see 2025 as being a very solid foundation to 2026, which we hope was going to be a really, really good growth year. We have great optimism for 25. And so what we're trying to do is again, impress dealers and distributors with being able to supply product, being very aggressive with our marketing to work at the trade shows and at promos moving forward. So trying to get all that we can now. There's some other things that are coming down the pipe, and we might talk about it as this conversation goes on, that could help us being a U.S. made company.
Well, let's talk about that, and because I wanted to talk about tariffs, but I need to preface this because 5 minutes from now, the news cycle is going to change on what tariffs might be coming and how much and from whom and all that kind of stuff. But how are the tariffs affecting you guys? Big steel, right?
Exactly. Big steel. So obviously, we just heard yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, that, tariffs on aluminum, tariffs on steel, which can help and hurt. Now, when we went through this, and I guess it's 6-7 years ago now, which is hard to believe, that when the tariffs became an issue, or became a topic, I should say, with Trump, we didn't really know what to expect. And we were also at a different spot in our industry where a lot of my import competitors were throwing containers on the water like crazy to get stuff over here to either get in advance of it. And I'm not saying that we didn't do the same. We still import some components. And so we were, backed into that situation as well, because even those make up a small percentage of our overall product, it still moves, what the cost of the product is. And, and we still want to be fair with what we're looking to get from it. So now that we've had a roadmap, I think that we'll be able to navigate it. I just think that the market is a little bit different, and the market, at least in our industry, is going to, I think, make the tariffs, be careful the words I use, make the tariffs a little bit harder for some people to handle. Because
go ahead.
I'm sorry, coming out of this 2-year slump, trough, whatever you want to call it, I just don't believe that there's certain people that have the capital to do what they did when we had the tariffs the first time. They're limited. They're a little bit handcuffed.
And this is, I'm getting a bit on a tangent here, but we're all hoping the retail market returns sooner rather than later. Maybe the concern now is that the tariffs, among other factors, are going to have those RV prices a little bit elevated. So there might be some sticker shock when those retail market does return.
Yeah, and I'm not an expert on the OEM side at the dealer level. Obviously, I know a lot of dealers across the country. Listen to them. I spoke with a dealer out of Oklahoma a couple weeks ago who's very optimistic about 25, and even had made mention that they had gone, quote unquote, all in on rolling stock inventory to be prepared for it, and that's great. And we always root for somebody like that puts themselves out there, and we hope it pays off for them, because if it does, it pays off for us. We all win from it. So I think with the tariffs that it kind of runs in a cycle. There's always a plus side to it. However, if our industry fires up this year and says grows by 30%, which I think we would all love, I don't know if our infrastructure really is prepared for that today. I mean, that might be different in 2 months, but today a 30% increase would be tough. A 20% increase would be tough. So I think we would benefit from the tariffs across the board, but there are going to be points that if we do ramp up considerably, then the supply side of it, when it comes to steel for us, could be an issue. It's the supply and demand model. It's the first thing that you're taught in economics 101, first day, supply and demand. And so if the demand is high and the supply's up, and domestic suppliers, they're going to take advantage of that. That's just how it is. So that could affect, as you said, the overall retail price for units, making it more difficult for consumers to purchase. I think in the end, we're going to be fine. We are. I think this is going to be a good rebound year. I don't expect that we're going to see, double-digit growth every month, because consumers, an inflation report just came out last night or this morning, year-to-year comparison, 4% increase on inflation to last January. We're still in the muck, and it's going to take a little bit to come out of it. So what we hope is that, we can win the battle day to day, pick up some market share for us overall. And then as confidence comes back around across the board, then we see the steady growth. Nobody wants an increase in business the way that COVID did. Nobody wants that right now. It'd be great to have the end result of it, the ching ching in the bank. But to get to that, nobody wants to go through that spike like we did before. We want a nice, gradual, successful transition into 2026 and beyond, that we can get back to 2019 numbers, which we're still a long way away from 2019 numbers.
From your lips to God's ears.
We'll see. Cross our fingers. I mean, I'm not going to turn anything down, but I sure would like it not to be as stressful as it was in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
Your hair's finally grown back. It's good to see.
It's just a toupee. Come on, guys.
Okay, so that's a good segue. In August, you'll be celebrating 20 years at BAL. I'm assuming you get a Rolex or something.
I mean, listen, we get a Rolex every week. No, yeah, 20 years. It's hard to believe. I remember when I thought I was the youngest guy in the room all the time. That was some years ago. I was fortunate enough to get into this industry young. But now there's a lot of us that are kind of grouped together. You kind of move through in packs, age packs, so to speak. And the good thing is I'm not the only one that's getting older. I've been very fortunate in working with Norco, and the family that owns it is phenomenal. The people here are phenomenal. So we've had our peaks and valleys, and we're starting to. Hopefully, this will be a long, gradual, successful, kind of like the Price is Right, the guy that goes, the yodeler that goes up,
Oh yeah.
finally falls off. I can't even remember what it's called. Whatever it is. Hopefully I don't ever get to the spot where we fall off. Hopefully this is like a nice 15-year run that we can all, retire on and be happy. Hopefully there's no more dips after this.
I like that idea. Good idea. Yeah. Chris, you got anything else?
No, John, thanks so much for joining us. By the time this airs, spring training will start. I know you're a baseball fan. Any prospects for the Rangers this year?
No.
Well, it's tough because the Dodgers keep buying everybody up. So, I saw that Kershaw signed a 1-year deal, his 18th year. I kind of feel bad for him because they probably just said, look, we'll give you like free tickets to the game if you play, for your family if you play another year. But no, I'm looking forward to it, because spring training means better weather. It means baseball. It means summer coming around. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And then the next thing you know, we'll be sitting here, in 6 months and go, God, where did the year go?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
it's already flown by as it has.
Yeah, it's actually no, not quite 6 months, but the aftermarket conference, that's where we'll see each other.
Come on down to San Antonio. It's going to be nice and nice weather, nice cool weather in San Antonio in the second week of August.
Cool.
The walk will be, very mild. You won't need to break a sweat. Bring a wrap. You'll need a wrap, like a shawl or
The
something.
shawl, yeah.
Okay, getting real deep.
No, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for spending the time with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, John. Appreciate it as well.
Yeah, thank you.